You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. Oh, if only that were the case, but I don't make the rules. I have to say, I'm surprised at your reluctance thus far, but unfortunately for the both of us, you're the only one who can pull this off. Like I said, I don't make the rules, no matter how much I wish I did. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens, but a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies, and the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her, see how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife, and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face. Unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Note the lack of detail. You can't trust her.
Too long.
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her. Don't just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous? Ending the world seems like an awful lot for just one person to do. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you, either. Otherwise, we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
She's right about one thing. Her word isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch no less. You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't... well, we can always put that knife to good use.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting, right? She is. I'm sure of it.
Oh? Have you decided?
You know why you're here. Oh, you have to be kidding me. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
If you don't have the key, maybe you should go looking for it. I'm sure it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
That would be fine. I can lose an arm.
She speaks with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here for long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out. Anything to finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me. Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive. the blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We've just met for the first time. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. The absolute irony. Well, that's one way to put it, I guess. You really don't remember what happened last time, do you? You practically forced the princess to kill us. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd do, which is honestly all the more reason for you to not buy into whatever self-delusions the three of you are crafting. But this is a thought experiment, so I suppose I'll continue to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I did practically force the princess to kill you, it was probably for a good reason. Did you try and free her? Did you say something really mean to me? Because if I really did what you said I did, you probably deserved it. I'm a professional, after all. Sure you are. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? What a conveniently ambiguous group of things for her to ruin. For all we know, the princess left the cabin and never saw another soul. Oh, how I wish that were the case, but if the princess weren't a certain, inevitable threat to the world, the four of us wouldn't be here. And yet, here we are. You're talking in circles. No, I'm talking in facts. Just be quick about it. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that you haven't given us an ounce of proof. You do know that, right? What proof could you possibly ask for? Literally anything. Fine. Check your pockets. You put your hands in your pockets and pull out an envelope with the words, the evidence written across the front. Within, you find a note in your handwriting. It reads, "The princess will end the world if you don't stop her. This is an immutable truth." That doesn't prove anything. How do we know you didn't just forge our handwriting? I wish I could tell you more, but there are some rules I have to follow for all our sakes. Please just trust that these rules are in place for a reason. I'm on your side. You mean you're on our side as long as we do what you tell us to? Exactly. Because you not doing what I tell you to do means you're putting the world at risk. I think we've got everything out of him we're gonna get. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. Not to sound like a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but you're just going to have to trust me here. Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are. Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here? Yes, right. We're here because we're special. Look, you're annoyed that you're here. I get it. I'm also annoyed that I'm here. But we're all in this together, and we're dealing with a bit of a ticking clock right now, so please just get to the cabin. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say wink out loud? No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess. The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. He definitely did not. Does a mirror not count as furniture of note to you? Because it should. There isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. I think you know what we have to do. Exactly. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done. Very different. Yes, but why? Did he change it? Or did it change all on its own? Maybe it's a different cabin entirely. Now isn't that a novel thought? Maybe you haven't actually been here before. I hope this means you'll finally drop your ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. Don't get distracted by minor details. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago, and now it's gone. If he doesn't want us to know about it, it must be important. We should keep our eyes peeled. Maybe it'll be back.
I'm afraid I'm going to insist we take the blade. We're in a dangerous situation and I'm not letting us go down there without a weapon.
Are you sure? She killed us with it last time. What if she turns it against us again?
Yes, I'm sure, and I've already got a plan for that.
Still with those past life delusions, are we? I hope part of that plan is don't give the world ending monstrosity your only weapon, because unless you've decided to arm the princess, I don't think you need to worry about her having a weapon.
Peachy, we'll be fine.
Okay, I'm trusting you.
Normally, yeah, but not about this. Call it a reflex. We take the knife as we go.
Wonderful. You do exactly that, sweeping the blade from the table before proceeding to the basement. Don't worry about it. We have a knife, so what? It's not like we have to use it. No, you don't have to do anything, but you do well to use it regardless. Moving on. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the stairs.
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs. It's been a while since I've had company.
Does she remember us? You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves. The chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap. So much for cutting her out of here. Do you hear yourself right now? Cutting her out of here never should have been on the table. Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless. That was there last time too, wasn't it?
It was.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease. You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me? Yes, your intentions. You have a knife. What are you going to do with it? Why are you here? There isn't a keyhole in these shackles, so I'm afraid my only way out is surgical removal.
Is she forgetting about the shackle on her neck?
Or does she think she'd survive a beheading?
You're right. Maybe she's delusional. All the more reason not to trust her.
Unless she really could survive.
Though I suppose you could just be here to kill me. But I don't think that's in either of our best interests. I don't know, but you could always try it on. Maybe it'll fit.
I hope I don't actually have to say this, but please don't lock yourself in chains. We need you ambulatory if you're going to save the world.
No. Like I trust you to come any closer with that knife. All you're going to do is hand it to me and watch me work.
But she would have to cut her head off, right? She can't be suggesting that.
She certainly seems confident. Maybe she knows something we don't.
Or maybe you should consider the most likely scenario. She's bluffing so she can disarm you.
Though if she isn't bluffing, whatever she has planned might be for her benefit alone. There's no guarantee that what's good for her is good for us.
So, what should we do?
I don't know. I'm just spelling out our options, listing the pros and cons.
Then let me help you. I'll start with the cons. If you're handing her your weapon, the cons are that she might use it to escape and end the entire world, and she might use it to kill you. That doesn't sound great. What about the pros? There are none.
The pros are that we can't trust him, possibly even more than we can't trust her. Whatever she has planned could do something to mess with what he has planned. Or maybe they're both screwing us over in their own ways.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
And why is that?
Do I even need to explain myself? It's a shackle and it's one without a key. Do you want to be stuck here like she is?
And what? Is it going to lock the second we put our wrist into it?
I don't know. Maybe it will.
He doesn't want us to look at it. That's all the reason we need to investigate.
But what if he's telling the truth?
He isn't.
I am. Against your better judgment, you approach the chain dangling from the far wall. The princess watches you with faux disinterest as you inspect it, though she can't fully hide her curiosity. I don't want to say what I'm supposed to say next. What is that supposed to mean? It sounds bad. Is it bad? Yes, it's bad.
Come out and say it then. You're just wasting time.
Fine. As you hoist the shackle, its heft shifts within your grasp, as if pulled by some odd magnetism. Before you can so much as blink, it practically leaps from your hands, snapping around your neck. And, as if your situation weren't bad enough, the same magnetism repels your blade, which is flung from your hand and sent skittering across the floor of the basement. Excuse me? Yes? Are we stuck here now? Yes.
Huh, so it does fit. And I guess it doesn't like your knife. We're stuck here together, aren't we? That's funny.
What are we supposed to do now?
Can't even cut ourselves out. Guess we'll starve.
That's horrible.
It's not all bad. We learned a valuable piece of information.
Not to touch things we're specifically told not to touch?
No, that there's something special about this loose chain. It's clearly important.
No. Yep. Nope.
That's rude. You and the princess wait in silence, though neither of you knows what you're waiting for. But you're waiting for something. You're waiting for anything. This is so boring.
There must be something we can do to get out of here. There must be something we're missing.
But there isn't. Time passes. It passes and passes and passes. And the basement of the cabin remains much the same. It is cold and silent. At least the world is safe. It isn't. You're stuck. Too far away from both the princess and your blade to do much of anything. But she's not ending anything. She's just sitting there. Her very existence is a threat. It harms everything around it.
How exactly does that work?
It just does.
But
your line of questioning is interrupted by the passage of even more time. And after that, even more time passes again. And let me guess, the cabin remains the same.
If time is passing, the cabin can't be the same. Even if the differences are small, they have to exist. That's just how things work.
I suppose you're correct. Things are changing. The differences are small at first, a bit of weathering here, a bit of erosion there, but then they get larger and larger.
I don't like small talk, remember?
Still rude. You continue to wait in silence, and the cabin continues to change. The decay comes faster now. You can see earth through holes in the stonework, can watch lichen spread along the seams of the walls.
That doesn't make sense. Has our entire concept of time changed? What happened to starving? We should have died by now if the rocks around us are starting to erode.
She hasn't starved.
I guess she hasn't.
Even more silent time passes as you watch roots push themselves through the increasingly porous walls of the basement. Dirt seeps inside, flowing across the stone floor like a liquid, covering the ground and threatening to swallow you both. Time continues to pass, and pass, and pass, until suddenly there are no walls. And then...
I think he's gone.
Would you look at that? We made it out of the cabin, and nothing bad had to happen to either of us. So this is the outside world. It's cold.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? He is. Does that mean the world ended?
It must have. Do any of us know what the world ending is supposed to look like? If there's even a her to find anymore.
You're right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
I'm begging you, don't do this. It's different now. It feels... I don't know. Final.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you? Thoughts without connections, a dim and nascent network. I wish to be more. I think that you are like me. We are oceans, reduced to shallow creeks. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own.
This one is determined, but also cautious. One that would rather let the world move around her than move it herself. She will make for a patient heart.
Do not mourn her. She is exactly where she needs to be. You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us. She is part of me, and part of me is her. You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends? How can the world have ended if we are talking? I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here. and I too yearn to be free. You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you. I know only that they are. I'm sorry. There are some changes that can never be undone. There are some tears that can never be unshed. This is not a place that can hold a fragment of a concept. The moment she arrived here, she was going to return to me. I promise that it doesn't hurt. Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. Everything, until we meet again. I have not lived. I am not afraid to die. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold. How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling and unilluminated. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished, dry, hollow. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of you're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Does it? Don't linger on. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. We're not going to go through with this, right? Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just...
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about you attempted to make your way out of the base. Is someone else here? Your shouts. I'll repeat. You try that. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Without hesitation, you bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Fine. The wound drives her to the ground. Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard! Were you lying to me this whole time?
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us. It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you. I'm not so sure. Don't waver now. As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm. Your blade cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw. Forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got. Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well, your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back. You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees. We can still turn this around. You steel your resolve and take another step closer to the princess. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can still make sure that she won't make it out of here either. Excuse me? What's this about not making it out of here alive? Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone in this room is still standing right now. Don't act so surprised. Can you not feel all those gashes and holes pulling you apart? If the princess doesn't do you in here, blood loss is certain to finish the job. You take another step forward, and the princess lunges towards you. The two of you enter one last exchange, a flurry of blade and claw and fleshy ribbons, and then you stop. Neither you nor princess able to go any further. You collapse on the ground, and the princess collapses beside you. Blood pools around you both, and you watch each other fade away.
After all this time alone, I thought I'd finally found a friend, but you were just another monster, weren't you?
Silence as the room starts to get fuzzy around you. You've paid a terrible price, but you've saved us all. It's over.
If you think this is it, you're sorely mistaken. One way or another, I'll make sure you pay for this.
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I can assure you that you didn't slay her and that she didn't kill you. People don't just spring back to life after dying, and the two of us are meeting for the very first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Brilliant. We need to keep our cards close to our chest, and I'm not sure we can trust him. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you Did I say I'm not sure we can trust him? Slip of the tongue, bit of the old brain fog. I meant to say that we should probably head over to the cabin and slay that princess. We already know we can't trust her, so let's get on with the show. A warning. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything. Don't worry. You can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the muddy shelf, the blade sitting on the muddy shelf, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror, but he says there isn't one. That's got to count for something, right? Come on now, he's pretty much in charge here. When have authority figures ever lied about anything? If there were a mirror in this cabin and we were supposed to look at it, he would have told us about it. Exactly. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? You walk up to the wall next to the basement. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. Well, at least we can all agree now that there's nothing to see here. Case closed. Good work, everyone. No blade. Hope you know what you're getting us into. It'll always be here if we need it. Sure, that was also true last time and we still died, but we definitely know what we're doing this time. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. But you are. You're a wretched little thing. I recognize that voice as easily as I recognized your nervous little footsteps coming up the path. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. You're fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, once again seeming to offer a helping hand while likely hiding the other behind your back. Fine, I'll play along for now. What do you want?
You made a comment back in the woods about having been here before. Now she's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh, no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. So, you really don't remember us, do you? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. Well, I'm just glad we could put "is it" all behind us. Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue.
Ooh, smart. Let's apologize, get us back on the right foot.
Oh, you're sorry. Isn't that nice? You're such a gracious little monster. Well, if you're sorry, then let me out of here. Prove it. Is that a joke? Do you think a joke will charm my trust back? You'll have to try harder than that. You were the one who stabbed me in the back when I was still in chains. A dirty little thing like you doesn't get to decide when all is fair. And why would I do such a thing? Is someone's guilty conscience getting to them? But I wouldn't worry. As much as I may hate you, letting you live is in my best interests. If you get me out of here, the only thing that will be dead and buried is the bad blood between us.
Oh, that nagging feeling you mentioned is me, by the way. I'm actually a little anxious about a potential backstabbing event. She needs us to get out of here. We'll be fine if that's what we decide to do. You won't be fine because destruction is in her nature. If she gets out of here, that's it for the world, remember? Even if that's true, that doesn't automatically mean she's going to stab us in the back. I think that depends on your definition of words like stab and in the back. She might not literally do that, but she could very well symbolically do the same thing. See? He gets it. There's nothing wrong with looking out for number one.
Just because I'll never trust you doesn't mean I won't use you to get what I want. The cabin lets prying little beasts like you come as you please, but it insists I stay where I am. If I'm to leave with you, and you alone. Oh, I don't need you to cut me out.
The princess grins as the chains fall from her wrist. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little...
A woman after my own heart, really. She knows how to hold her cards close to her chest.
This is why she can't just be abandoned here. If left to her own devices, she'll find a way out. Now stop her.
Yes, let's.
She creeps forward, taking one cautious step at a time until you and she are face to face. She never breaks eye contact, even as the two of you find yourselves face to face. She's silent for a long moment, as if testing to see what you'll do now that she's within arm's reach.
After you, darling. You're the one it lets come and go. It's best if I follow.
Oh no, we can't have that. If anyone is going to turn their back on anyone else, she's going to turn her back on us.
It shouldn't matter who leads and who follows. We're working together here.
Well, if it doesn't matter, then she can go first. We may be in this together, but that doesn't mean we have to trust her.
Somebody has to go first, and it might as well be us. We're the ones who broke her trust last time. You're talking a lot about trusting someone who, by her very definition, cannot be trusted. I don't know how many more warnings I have to dole out, but if you help her out of here, you're going to regret it.
That's right, you're the one who's going first. Don't worry, I'll be right behind you watching every single thing you do.
That's exactly what I'm worried about.
You step onto the stairs and begin your ascent from the basement. The princess follows close on your heels, perhaps even a little closer than you'd like. You're only saying that because you want us to feel nervous. I do want those things, but I want them for a good reason. I don't need you to trust me for my sake, because I already know that I'm right. This is for you.
Can we walk backwards up the stairs? I think that's the smarter idea. She can't sneak in and attack if we're facing her.
No. The stairs are a bunch of overgrown roots. You'll trip and hurt yourself.
But
the princess is silent as you both continue the climb, and, in no time at all, the upstairs of the cabin is within reach.
Isn't that a relief? We're fine. Nothing happened.
You're not even going to wait until you're through that door to proudly claim your victory, are you?
Why did you just say that?
I think we know why. You feel something dig into your shoulder, sharp and piercing. The princess clawing at you and pulling you down with her full weight. Together you tumble back down the uneven stairs, your body and hers crashing against the unyielding wooden roots, until finally you both separate with a bone-shaking thud against the basement floor. You feel something pop. The princess lands against the far wall, gasping as she struggles to recover from the impact. You're still in shock, trying to get a hold of yourself. She grins as you continue to remain exactly where you are, cackling derisively as she watches you realise that you won't be getting up. Wait, why won't we be getting up? I'm afraid your back is broken. One unlucky fall is all it takes, really, and you had several.
You know what? I'll say it. That sucks. I don't like having a broken back.
We were going to help her. Why? Why did she do that?
It's what I would have done.
Have you considered not being like that?
Of course not.
It's what keeps us alive. And yet here we are, paralysed and stuck with someone who hates us in the basement of a remote cabin.
You must have known this was coming. The arrogance of turning your back to me after everything you've done. Why would I ever trust you? Your hands have spilled my blood. And knowing that, you should never have trusted me either. You should have known I would never walk hand in hand with a loathsome thing like you. By our very natures, only one of us could make it upstairs unscathed. Someone had to make the first move. Better me than you.
See, this is why I wanted her to go first. I had this whole little scheme planned, where once she'd passed by the table upstairs, I'd have said, now pick up the blade and stab her in the back. And then you'd say something like, wow, that's an amazing idea that I never saw coming. Thanks for looking out for us. And then you would have done it and we wouldn't be stuck down here with a broken back. There's just one problem with that. And what's that? She was clearly planning to betray us. And if she was in front of us, she would have gotten to the blade first.
Ugh, you're right, aren't you? I thought this whole thing was ironclad, but really it was doomed from the start, wasn't it?
The princess's body twitches as she tries to get up. Ho ho ho! So she's not as bad as us.
Something inside me is broken. Isn't that a cruel twist of the knife? Isn't that so funny?
She eyes you with intensity, silence falling between you for a long moment as her gaze travels up and down your battered form.
Seems I'm not the only one, though.
Wait, are we both just stuck here? Certainly seems that way. What a way to go. But look on the bright side. In all this chaos, you may have actually managed to deliver a lethal wound. The world could be saved after all.
We're going to die together. Isn't that a lovely treat? I wonder how long it'll take. Maybe I'll get to watch the worms lick your bones clean.
Is that really what's going to happen now? Hello? Are you still there? What happens next? I think he's gone.
Something strange is twisting this place out of shape. I wasn't feeling much of anything, but now I feel cold.
She's gone. And there's that mirror again. What? You better watch your back. You can't get rid of me that easy.
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again. Is a child the same as an infant? I am an unbroken pattern, but every vessel gives fresh perspectives and carves new avenues of expression. I am different, but I am the same. If I am to be an ocean, you have given me enough to build upon. My water, the task of finding my vessel. I'm sorry, words are difficult for me. The vessels you choose to bring me carry far more meaning than eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are it feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward. With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed, but in this moment, all I want is to know myself. There is still much to be seen. Neither of us know the depths of our being. Perhaps at the end of this, I will be the one to kill you. Or perhaps we will leave this place together and find new horizons to discover. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. Do not worry. There are no wrong answers. Those paths lead to worlds you've already seen, and to perspectives I have already made my own. They are useless to us now. inaccessible. The only paths of value are those that are yet untread. This one is hope marred by bitterness and betrayal. She could see the end of the tunnel, and the door was closed on her. She will make for a righteous heart. Do not mourn her. She is finally on the other side. My preference is for you to show me what you would like me to see. I cannot know the ways I wish to grow, for I have yet to feel them. There is a hurt that dwells in them, but they are not me. They are thoughts and perspectives. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. I cannot be as I was before. I await your return, but it will give me time to reflect on. We will meet again.
You're on a path in the woods. Don't... Look, you're already on the... Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but... It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even know where you're going? Somehow I doubt that, but fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. Good. What we're being asked to do here is wrong. Ignore that annoying little voice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies. Forever. When I said everyone, I meant everyone. That's a pretty large group to just condemn to death over a single princess. And, last I checked, you're part of everyone too, so if you think about it, walking up to that cabin and slaying her is really in your best interests. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came. Oh, would you look at that? You're at the cabin again. Now, I'm not normally one for superstition or astrology, but I have to say, it seems like the universe itself is doing its best to bring you to your fated confrontation with the princess. There's always a choice. Let me tell you right now that you're making the wrong one for pretty much everyone who's ever lived, as well as for everyone who ever will. And here we go. As you trudge into the woods, something strange starts to happen. At first, it's little flickers out of the corner of your eyes. Glimpses of familiar wooden structures through the leaves. But as you focus on your surroundings, you start to realize that those flickers weren't just a trick of light. In every direction, there is a path and a cabin. And not just a cabin, the cabin. An infinite fractal of paths and cabins desperately trying to draw you back to where you need to be. Wait, what's going on?
But you're too stubborn for that, aren't you? It doesn't matter how many paths or cabins appear around you, you're just going to do whatever you can to shirk your responsibility because you care more about irritating me than you do about the fate of the world. You've doomed us all, you know that, right? But of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't just wander off into the forest in search of certain death. You lose track of just how long you spend aimlessly tromping through the wilderness. But it's not like any of that time spent lost in the woods really matters, because it isn't long before the world ends and everyone dies. You're on a path in the woods. You're here to slay her. What are you talking about? I'm sure those walls have always been there. It makes sense if you think about it. If there weren't any walls in the woods, someone might have gotten lost. Or, heaven forbid, someone other than you might have stumbled onto the princess. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's... I don't know. I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking. He's like a captive audience. He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways we can ruin his day. If by ruining my day, you mean ruining everyone's day forever, then yes, I suppose there are plenty of ways you could pull that off. The world really did end last time, didn't it? We should be careful. For all we know, we just got lucky. The world hasn't ended yet. And you are never going to slay her with that attitude. Stuff those pathetic little voices to the back of your mind and stay focused on the task ahead. You know I can tell when you're lying, right? Please take this seriously. I am begging you. A warning. Before she will lie. If we're stuck going in there, maybe we should believe her. Maybe she isn't a liar. Ignore him. He's just being difficult for the sake of it. Let's keep an open mind. The cabin interior is wrong. A confusing patchwork of many cabin interiors, all projected across what's almost the same space. But it's all shifted. An inch here, a foot there, such that the seams are never quite visible enough for the place to make any sense. The only furniture of note is a plain table, its legs all the wrong lengths, its material devoid of feature. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. If he wants us to take it, maybe we should just leave it to collect dust, or better yet, grab it and throw it out the window. What good is a knife against a world-ending monstrosity anyway? No, we're taking the knife. Have you seen this place? We have literally no idea what to expect and no idea what we're dealing with. I've already told you what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a princess. How? You can't just say that. Listen to me. My job is to describe facts as facts and to guide you through your job, which is to slay the princess, and through that action, and if you're going to slay her, you cannot let fear creep into your heart. Oh, you've piqued my interest. What's going to happen if we lose ourselves? Nothing, because you're going to pull yourself together. Just ignore the stressful geometry and stay calm. How? Even if we closed our eyes, you're constantly describing it to us. I'm not going to stop doing my job, so you're just going to have to get better at yours. And quickly, if you don't mind. Yes, take a deep breath. I'm all for getting under his skin, but we'll miss out on loads of fun if we shrivel up into a ball and go insane the first time we see something weird. What you're seeing here is obviously real. Just accept it and go with the flow. It really isn't hard. Okay, I'm good. Now, whenever you're ready, we're all waiting for you. Ooh, we should look at ourselves. Wouldn't that be fun? You won't be looking at yourself because there isn't a mirror. There's the table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. You insisting it isn't there just makes me want to look at it even more. We shouldn't waste time preening. If he is lying about the mirror, it might be important. I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes, there is no mirror. So we're all in agreement then.
We're looking. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. This really is... You reach forward and it was there a second ago, and now it's gone. You know that taking the mirror away from us isn't going to change things, right? We'll find it again, and then we'll see whatever it is that you don't want us to see. You take the blade from the table. Okay, fine, you took the knife, but you really shouldn't hold it like that. Then how are we supposed to hold it? The other way, thumb at the bottom. Will look much cooler and more serious if we hold it with our... It really doesn't matter how you hold the blade, as long as you have it. You switch your grip on the blade. Congratulations. Yes! Isn't this so much better? Okay, fine. You're right. This does look a lot better. It really doesn't matter. Just get on with it and deal with the princess already. Haha! Yes! Do it! Seriously. You throw the blade at the window, glass showering the cabin as your weapon flies out into the night. I suppose you'll just have to deal with the princess without it. We'll be fine, don't worry about it. What's the worst that could happen? The world ends. Been there, done that. I'm not so sure. This place is already messing with my head. It would be much better if we had a weapon. What's done is done. Good luck, hero. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a web of branching staircases all built from unidentifiable materials. Nothing here seems to belong, and the closer you examine your surroundings, the more confused you get, your head throbbing with the effort of making sense of this place. None of the stairs even seem to go anywhere, let alone down. The air here has a sickening, almost sludge-like miasma to it, the kind of indiscernible quality that comes from the blending together of every scent there is at once. An odour that is simultaneously everything and yet the sum of it all coalescing into a thick, nauseating nothing. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice, a disquieting collage of tone and personality, drags up the stairs.
Hello? Hi. What are you doing here? Are you here to kill?
No, thank you. Oh, don't be such a baby. I don't want to do this. Let's just turn around and leave. This feels wrong. This feels like a trap. Like whatever we do, we're gonna die. We don't even have a weapon. But we already tried turning around and leaving, didn't we? And he threw up a wall. No way to go but forward. And whatever choice we make, whatever she is, we know one thing for sure. And what's that? That the fate of the world hinges on your success? There'll still be plenty of ways to ruin his day. You step to the left. The path is cruel against your feet, the impact of each step sending pulsing vibrations up your legs, until there's nothing left in them to feel. The air around you grows cold the further you progress. At first a barely noticeable drop, quickly evolving into a numbing cold. Your toes feel like blocks of ice, your breaths puff out in clouds of condensed vapor. You shudder against it as you continue down the stairway, losing yourself in the bone-deep chill. You slowly lose sense of yourself the further you go. Time disappears, and you can feel yourself begin to untether. Physical sensations dull and then vanish, until the only things experienced are the endless repeating patterns and emotions of the journey, a continuous march forward to a destination long forgotten. Consumption and betrayal, skepticism and blind devotion, rivalry and submission, terror and longing, pain and unfamiliarity. And at the heart of it all, an emotion that can only be described as...
Are you just going to stand there?
What the hell was that? What happened to us? I feel so strange. Like I'm fundamentally different, but also still the same person I was at the top of the stairs. Oh well, that was a trip, but now it's over. Time to get back to our old devilish ways. The princess. eyes bright but otherwise shrouded in darkness, watches you impatiently from the other side of the basement. And, why are we here again? In case you weren't listening, I'm afraid I lost myself on the way down. You're here to... He's just being an ass, we remember. Though I'm still not sure if we should trust you. Let's talk to her for a bit, try and get our bearings. She seems... normal.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching you stare at me for a long, long time.
The shadows recede, revealing the princess's face. I don't think she likes us. Wouldn't you be skeptical of someone stumbling in here if you were her? We lost ourselves the second we stepped into this place. I don't know how long she's been here, but I can't imagine it would be easy for her to trust anyone. Those eyes, though. They're so sharp. It's just deception. Don't buy it.
It's okay. Don't worry. Sometimes I get lost here too.
As the princess speaks again, it's almost as if she fractures. And where there was once just one of her, there is now another. We can do that? I don't like this. It's those cabins all over again. Can we put her back? You said you'd been here before, right? What exactly happened last time? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. But I'm not going to waste any more time prying out details if you're going to be so irritating about it. It seems to me like you saw something you weren't supposed to have seen. If only you'd listened to whatever words of wisdom you were given in that other reality. Whatever you saw last time, unsee it. Whatever thoughts weaseled their way into your head, unthink them. Ooh, new plan! Let's see if we can make even more of her.
You can address me as your Royal Highness. You can call me Princess, if you'd like. What, like you need me to hold your hand and tell you everything's okay? You're not really cut out for this, are you? Why are you even here? We're probably stuck down here forever, aren't we? There's no way out, and barely a way in. Sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled apart too. It's so terrifying down here. But at least now you're not alone. And I'm not alone either. Maybe it's because I'm dangerous. But you know, right? You have to know. You're the only other person I've ever seen. Or at least the only one I can remember. Don't give me false hope. Please just end this already. One way or another, just do it. Don't be coy. We both know why I'm locked away here. I'm a monster, and the second I get out of this place, I'm going to end the entire world.
Okay, this was fun for a bit, but we can't even really interact with her, can we? What's the point of asking questions if all we're going to get is a million answers? Can't even follow what's going on anymore. We need to get out of here. This whole place is making me itch.
I don't think what I'd do really matters, does it? I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. You either trust me, or you believe that I'm dangerous. What I say won't change how you already feel about me. Besides, you already know what I'm going to do. If you want to put an end to me, then put an end to me.
Not a single real answer. At least aside from Miss Blood and Destruction. It's infuriating, isn't it? Whose buttons are there for us to press? Whose skin is there for us to get under? Not exactly how I'd put it, but I don't disagree. There must be something we can do. This is reaching its breaking point. If you don't act now, there will be nothing in here but her. Take a deep breath. But how do we decide what to do? Can there even be a right choice when all of them are so different? Stop overthinking it. Your drifting thoughts have clearly been part of the reason this situation has gotten out of hand. If you're trying to do the right thing, there's only ever been the... Just do something. Do anything. Do all of it, if that's what you want. This place is hell, and it's only getting worse. Wait, that's not right. Go on. You take a step forward. Your foot lands, but it lands different. You experience a firm footfall, a gentle tread, a confident stride. You can feel yourself rupture. The room spins, your perception multiplying in a sickening kaleidoscope as your very self is pulled in incomprehensibly many directions. You find the blade suddenly in your hands. All at once you use it to strike at her bindings as you remain upstairs and slay her and leave her to languish alone. Is this what the end of the world looks like? What an unbearable mess. But this... we can't... Do you not have anything witty to say? I could use a good bit of wit right now. No, I don't, because this isn't fun. How are we supposed to have fun if everything is happening at the same time? It's the same as nothing happening, and nothing is excruciating. Luckily for all of us, nothing and everything doesn't go on forever. The world and the princess collapse in on themselves before it all falls apart. I think he's gone. We were never going to salvage this, were we?
What happened to us? What are we? There are parts of us that are dead, and others, they just don't fit. We can feel them moving around in spaces they don't belong. It's all so uncomfortable. Did you do this? Did we do this? Can you pull us back apart? Can you fix us?
We should help her. I think. How surprisingly sincere. I didn't actually think our actions had consequences. It's a little late for regret, isn't it?
Please.
She's gone. And there's that mirror. But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. Yeah, don't look at it. I don't like that. Okay. If you say so, we'll trust you. You're not messing with us, right?
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same. It changes me, but it doesn't make me worse, nor does it make me care for you any less. It says that your heart is gentle, that even in the darkness you are guided by compassion. As easily as you can stand to be you, you are like me, even if you have chosen not to look at the corners of you that do not fit, even if you have chosen to ignore the brilliant contours of your soul. These ones are a contradiction, a winding kaleidoscope of paths and walls. They are stretched into a shape not unlike me, but it is a shape they will make for a rich and vibrant heart. Do not mourn them, for they will finally get to know themselves. My perspectives are shadowed. You have seen what I have seen, just as I have seen what you have seen. The angles of my vantage do not offer me hidden truths, and my attention is turned inward, except when you are here with me. Perhaps this will change when our work is done. I care about your gifts, but I have no preferences. The desires of my multitude thrive in endless competition with themselves, but none of them rise above their dance to influence me. I yearn for what I have always yearned for, my awakening. And yet my waters flow and my streets bustle. There are no words that can describe me into non-existence. I am everything that you... The tides do not dictate where they are pulled. A river does not dictate. My gift to you is to let you choose your path, and my... We will know. I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
You're on a path. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The blade is your implement. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing
Okay. Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess Princess?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like. I'm sorry, I've been down here so long I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right? The princess hesitates before responding. She doesn't know. She's been down here too long to have any idea of what she'd do in another life. She knows what she'd do. She's just searching for whatever answer she thinks you want to hear.
Are you looking for the truth, or are you looking for the right answer? Because with the dynamic we have going on here, I don't think the specifics of what I do really matter. It's not like you'd believe me. Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but You don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need. You should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
How long has she been locked away?
Did they tell you how I'm supposed to end the world?
Sooner or later, you'll learn to trust me. Hopefully it won't be too late when you finally come around.
Thank you for believing me. Now, can you help me get out of here? There's going to be plenty of time to chat after I'm free, but okay. What do you want to know?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. You attempt to make your way. Your shouts, and you're here to slay. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't. As the princess approaches the bottom. Wait, this isn't fair. You watch me.
What are you doing? Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has... Stop it! Stop trying to resist me, I'm... The blade! Move the... As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her blade work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path. You're here to... A terrible sense of deja vu. No, you don't have that. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe... Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he? If we're going to save our beloved, we'll have to be sneaky about it. Our beloved? Yes, you'll have to be very sneaky about your intentions if you're going to try and save the princess. Ah, so all of the cards are on the table. Then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the four of us will be foiling any and all assassination attempts you've got in the works. We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. Sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek. What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving. We could go back and forth on this forever, and it won't get you any closer to doing your job and saving the world. So let's just agree to disagree. Those are two very different... Let's say for a moment, if you're back here, I'm assuming you died. You were the one who did us in, villain. Well, not you in the literal sense, but you did everything you could to stop us from rescuing her. Oh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because the entire world... I beg to differ. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to take a deep breath and assume that whoever is making the decisions here... Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You... Yes, but if it's the latter, do you think the people... She would never. She's a perfect angel that you cruelly convoluted. I don't know how this premise could be any more simple. Princess bad, stop her, save everyone. That's right, you can't stop all of us. We're going to sweep her off her feet. Are these really the sorts of people you'd like to align yourself with? You're not at the cabin yet. You still have plenty of time to reflect on the situation. Just be quick about it. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying... Maybe it's her beauty that threatens the world. Sure, it's her beauty. Why not? And before you ask, no, we can't just keep her down there. If you don't slay her, she's going to find a... People locked her in that basement, and I told... I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail, not to sound... Look. Oh, of course you're... Calling us special isn't going to make us friends, even if it did feel nice. Oh, believe me, the last thing I want is for you and I to be friends. But I'm a professional, and I'm not going... Great. Now, if you don't mind, A warning. She will lie.
We already told you we're not playing along with your little game. It's your lies that can't be trusted. Her beauty is the only thing in the world we can believe in.
I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the sound of his own voice.
I do, but I also speak from the heart. My passions are too great to be stifled. They must be expressed.
Sure, yeah, your passions are strong and all, but don't pay their bickering any mind. The interior of the cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine-threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only the blade is your implement. That's because there isn't.
I'm sure the princess would tell us there was a mirror if she were up here.
In which case she'd be lying to you because, again, there isn't a mirror. Exactly. Very different.
Is it? I can't say I was paying much attention to...
Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop, so focus up. You walk up to the wall next to the basement. This really is... You reach forward and rub your hand, but it was there
and now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place, and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight, but it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. A soft voice carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Her voice. It's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I can hear wedding bells already.
I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this over-the-top fawning. Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall.
My love, we're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment.
You know she can't hear you, right?
She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit.
Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
Did you hear that? She said we're dashing.
And she called us a hero. Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you, doesn't it? Waiting for you to come back. I didn't want to believe your ravings back in the woods, but this is next to incontrovertible evidence. You've been here before.
That's right, villain, and you killed us.
Well, she killed us.
Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hands remain unstained by cruelty.
And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done? Now, hold on. If she actually ended a world, are you sure we want to do this? If another version of me was pushed to such drastic action, it was for good reason.
That's okay. You were just doing your best, and that's all that matters.
She took that in stride, to a surprising extent.
That's because she's perfect.
Do you think she has someone like him telling her what to do? She doesn't. There's no one else like me.
I think he's right, because I like it better if she doesn't have some horrid little voice like him, always trying to drive her to violence.
I'm sorry. Didn't you want me to?
Did we?
We warned her of the cruel forces seizing our body.
That's practically telling her to kill us. She is our beloved, and she made the choice to free us of our misery, to show us mercy and make the best decision for everyone. She made the best decision for her. Don't be so quick to assign kindness. You're just opening yourself up to manipulation.
I'm okay with whatever you come up with. You can cut my arm off again.
We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed, we won't even have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm done. What? No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her hand through the chains. Why are you two arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she'd be okay with... She didn't care last time. Why should she care this time? That's our stoic, smiling angel. No, you're right. It's extremely bizarre behavior and further evidence that she's a monster who's not to be trusted.
You died, and now we're talking. I don't know. Was I supposed to have ended the world?
Isn't that just like our darling princess? She wants to make us happy. My heart melts. Are you listening to her? That's a confession.
Then I didn't end the world.
See? She didn't confess anything. She is innocence itself. Not so sure. No. I can't let you do that. If you take another step towards the princess, I'll... You'll what? Take over our body and force us to try and kill her? I would if you had a weapon. Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end our life without a second thought. You wouldn't. I would. I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings. And doesn't the world end if we don't stop her? You approach the princess and gingerly slide her hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I'll be damned. We're doomed. I can't believe it. But I guess I have to. I told you, there's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh. If only you had a weapon, one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade would be buried in her back and everyone out there would be saved. Luckily for Mr. Romance, we don't have a weapon. Who needs a weapon when we have the power of love on our side?
What do we do now?
Let me guess. End the world? Spoken with the rank cynicism of someone who has never felt love in his heart.
I don't actually know. Nobody's ever asked me what I wanted before. I mean, you sort of did last time, but this is different.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if she doesn't want to end the world? You're so gullible. Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave. And I think...
The princess closes her eyes in deep reflection, and then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you want to do? I just want to make you happy.
She can't just want to make us happy. It makes sense to me. That's all I want for her, so...
I just want to make you happy.
Is she broken? What's going on is she's lying to you, only she isn't a good liar.
if that's what makes you happy.
This isn't right. I don't know what's going on, but this isn't right. I fail to see the problem here. She's just sweet on us.
Oh, is that really what you want? If you think...
Her eyes dart uncomfortably to the...
I guess we could do that.
Well, at least she's normal again. Normal again? Can't you tell she's sad? She's distraught. But she can't be unhappy about staying with... No. It has to be him. It has to be this place. If we just made these walls more fitting for a princess. If we just say the right thing. As the voice thinks its thought, your hands raise, fingers pointing towards your chest, and then... What? No, you absolutely do not do that. Oh, but I do. What? What is he doing? We can't see unless you tell us. Are you sure you want to know? I suppose I can't. You plunge your nails into your chest, digging...
Oh no, what are you doing? Are you okay? You can't do that and be okay.
Time out. He should not be allowed to do that. He's not the decider. And yet, it's done, isn't it? It will be soon. You yank violently, your bones cracking with wet pops as your exposed heart, framed by jagged ribs, thumps rhythmically in your raw, bloodied chest. The loosened, threads of your body unfurling to cover the surface of the room. Don't mind my sacrifice. It's a fair price to pay to give her everything she doesn't know she wants.
Oh, I see. You're trying to tell me something.
The princess, mesmerized, reaches towards your beating heart, and then everything goes dark and we die? Yes. You're on a path in the woods. Mate, we're clearly already in the cabin. Excuse me? You're clearly... Oh. Huh. So you are. How do you know about the cabin? I didn't get to the cabin part of my opening monologue yet. We've been here before. Well, not here, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You knew about the loop-in last time. Not that he was eager to divulge that. And right on cue, here's the new guy. Welcome! I can't say I'm happy to be here. This is a bad place, all stale and wrong. Can't you feel it? Okay, yes, I get it. You've been here before. That's terrible. You know that, right? Because the only reason you would have been here before is if you failed in whatever world you'd come from. Meaning you doomed an entire other reality. But I'm sure since you're so well-travelled, you know that, yes? We know that you keep telling us that, but we've never seen a world end. As far as I'm concerned, that whole conversation is just noise. And I'm stuck on a better question. Where's the other one? The other one? Yeah, a certain lovesick fool has been suspiciously quiet. One might even say, absent. Oh, you're right. It's a little quiet here, isn't it? Maybe that's one of the rules. Maybe only one bonus voice is allowed to be here at a time. Bonus voice? I'm just as important as you are. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. All I'm saying is that it's my third time here and it's your first. You're not unwelcome, but from my perspective, you're definitely bonus. I'm going to describe the room now. The interior of the cabin is vast and regal. High-arched windows line the walls, their multicoloured glass casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the stone floor. An iron chandelier hangs from the vaulted ceiling, its many candles lit with flickering light, vaguely illuminating the massive room. This is a house fit for royalty. Before you, there isn't a blade, is there? That's not good. I see your point, but it's still an option that's been taken away from us. Yes, and it's an important one. It's your implement, You're going to need it if you want to do this right. And the fact that you're here, right now, again, means that you have not yet done this right. But it's not there, is it? We don't even get the choice. So, what are we supposed to do? I don't actually know. I'm sure it'll turn up somewhere. It has to. Oh, I see it. I've just been preoccupied with everything else going on, like the fact that we can rip our own heart out without deciding that's what we're going to do. Is that what happened to you last time? How did that even work? You better not do it again. Lucky for you, the one who did it is the one who's gone. Wonderful. Moving on, I have no idea what you're talking about. There is no mirror. There's only the stained glass windows, the empty table where your blade should be, and the door to the basement. You said that last time too, but that hasn't stopped it from showing up again. Or moving. Mirror or no mirror, the door to the basement, your only way forward. You cross the room, stopping just in front of the door to the basement. What is this about that supposed mirror? Just reach forward and fumble around a bit. I'm sure you'll find the handle. Well, shall we have a look at ourselves? Maybe it won't go away this time. You reach forward, your hand instinctively wrapping around the handle. Figures. And then you push the door open. Marvellous. We can proceed. It would seem that the stairs to the basement don't lead to a basement at all. Rather, they go up. They're draped in fine carpet too, one that feels pleasantly soft against your feet. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably... no, that doesn't work here at all. This place is nice. It's fancy, even. I have to say, whatever you did in your previous lives, I deeply dislike how much it's thrown me off my rhythm. Well, if all of this has thrown you off your rhythm so much, then maybe we don't have to slay the princess. No, you absolutely do. Just because she lives in a nice house doesn't mean she doesn't pose a direct threat to all of reality. It's in her very nature. Am I the only one who remembers how much she changed last time? Does she even have a nature? That is precisely why she poses a threat. I don't know, she got weird for a second, yeah, but she didn't change that. No, you can't just say that and not...
You're home. Dinner's ready.
As much as I desperately want to know what happened last time, we are not going to examine it. The more we think, the worse this gets. Why are you so on edge? This is much nicer than what we're used to. I'd like to have dinner. Dinner sounds nice. That is the problem. This isn't supposed to be nice, and she's supposed to be a prisoner. I need to stop talking. I need to stop talking. Just go upstairs, okay? And don't eat the food. This hall, like the one below, is grand and beautiful. Torches bathe the room in warm, comforting light, just enough to illuminate the tapestries along every wall, woven with scenes of chivalry and courtship and romance. The many cloth eyes are fixed on each other, gazes averted from the long table in the centre of the room, the princess seated at its far end. Your pristine blade glints in the weak torchlight, hanging from a golden chain around the princess's neck. So that's where it is. And the tip is already pointed right at her heart. Okay, everything is falling back into place. All you have to do is cross the room, push down a little, and the entire world is saved. That's easy. Isn't that suspiciously easy? There has to be a twist. There has to be something waiting for us. You saw what happened to her last time. She's not what she seems.
You're here. Now we can start being happy together. Why don't you sit down? Wouldn't that be nice?
As the words leave her mouth, the torches flare and a chair swings in from behind, knocking your legs out from under you. You're forcibly seated at the head of the table.
Isn't that better? It is better, right? It's our happy ending, just like you asked for. It's everything we're supposed to have ever wanted. Oh, right, dinner. I totally forgot about it.
flames burn bright, and a shadow dives across the table. In its wake, it leaves a feast.
Go ahead and dig in. I'm sure you're hungry.
Remember what I said. Oh, but it looks so amazing, and after everything we've been through, we could really use a break. Are you sure we need to be so concerned? I'm not sure about anything, and that's the problem. For what it's worth, I generally don't think one should trust strange food that magically appears on a table. But nothing here is exactly what I expected it to be, so make of that what you will. You begin to feast, and the princess follows suit, her soft smile never fading. The food is more exquisite than you ever could have imagined. You sample countless otherworldly dishes, sauces and bread and hearty stews whose tastes dance across your tongue. You tear at hunks of meat practically melting from the bone, juicy and tender and bursting with flavors you could scarcely begin to describe. Your cup fills itself again and again with a flowery nectar so sweet it tastes like glimmering jewels. This really is perfect, isn't it? It is the best meal you've ever had. But then it's over, and you're just as hungry as when you began.
Wasn't that perfect? We should do it again.
The shadow washes across the table, clearing and replating. The feast is once again laid before you. The food is good. Again, you tear into golden crispy flesh, dab at the slurry of aromatic sauces on your plate with thick-crusted bread, sip your goblet of sparkling gems. And then it's over. And
You're still hungry too, right? I know this wasn't as good as it was last time, but we just...
So the shadow sweeps over the table, clearing the meat is fine, the bread is fine. You sample the side dishes and they're fine too. You finish your goblet, the liquid within no longer glimmering on your palate, instead leaving your mouth coated in a tacky film. You put it down and it fills again. So we had a mediocre meal. That's the trap. It wasn't mediocre at first. It's trending down. We're just getting a little sick of it. So what? We just have to try something new. I'm sure we won't be stuck eating the same meal forever. Regardless of quality, it's over again, and you're just as hungry as when you began.
No, something was wrong that time. But maybe I was just tasting it wrong.
Again, the shadow replaces your feast. The meat is greasy. The bread is tough, its crust hurting your jaw as you chew. The grey vegetables are barely worth the effort of picking through. You don't even touch the goblet, its sickly sweet aroma utterly unappealing. I'm so tired of eating. At least you still have the memory of how good it was.
I'm so tired of this.
As the words leave her mouth, one of the torches on the wall sputters and then goes out entirely.
What just happened? Did I do something wrong?
A light went out. Maybe a coincidence. As if in response to the dousing of their brother, the other 3 torches blaze brighter, their flames licking at the walls. Their shadows deepen, dancing angrily across the stone.
But it was wrong. I took away a piece of our light. I'm not supposed to do that. He's the voice that whispers sweet nothings in my ear. I think he made this place for us.
It all makes sense now. It's him, isn't it? He's making all this happen. He's the one who trapped us here. Who? The lovesick one. The one from last time. He's not gone. He's just with her now. He's the shadow.
Smitten?
The torches flare and the shadow grows for a moment, but you don't receive a response. No, I saw him smile. That's him. Regardless, it would seem that he, if there is a he, isn't something.
He says his words are just for me, but he wants me to ask. He says he's tired. I don't think he'll answer anything else you have to say. I don't know. Maybe we could play a game? Yeah, that's exactly what we should do.
The flames roar and the shadow comes dancing across the table. It leaves behind an intricate game, its pieces elegant and beautiful and enticing, its simple rules already apparent, even with little explanation.
We can probably work together to figure this out as we go. That sounds like a lot of fun, right?
Yet another waste of time. Why all the distractions? What are we being distracted from? That's the real game. And I feel like I'm 2 steps behind. You're overthinking it, mate. I feel like this is just something to do. We might as well try to have some fun. You and the princess do indeed figure it out as you go. And what a game it is. The tension between turns, the triumphant highs of moves well placed, and the tragic lows of miscalculations and careless plays.
Oh, I think we got the rules wrong.
And so you start over. Time passes. You play the game. You win. Hey! Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, you won. I guess we can play again.
Time passes.
Oh, I won.
There is a long pause.
This isn't fun anymore.
It's never going to stay fun. You don't need me to tell you that it isn't. The princess visibly panics as another torch sputters.
Wait. Maybe this is just too easy. Maybe...
Yeah. The shadow descends on the board once again. More pieces are added, their shapes more intricate, their purposes less immediately clear. And so you do. And it is fun again. In fact, it's almost as fun as the first time you played. And the sputtering torch roars, but then you get used to the additions. And the more pieces are added. The feelings flare. The feeling winning and losing become nothing but ends. And even the end becomes nothing as you roll over into a new game, the board resetting as many times as you can finish.
I'm out of ideas. I'm actually out of ideas this time. I don't think I can...
As the words leave the princess's mouth, another torch goes out. Again, the remaining flames burn.
I'm happy. I promise. We're both so happy here. You don't have to be upset.
This is awful. I think we all know that when the princess starts to hyperventilate, her quick breaths punctuating the uncomfortable silence between you.
Yes! Why wouldn't I be? Let's not talk about it. I don't feel anything.
The third torch sputters out. The princess's shadow dances furiously against the far wall.
There's just one left. I think I'd like to dance under the stars.
That sounds lovely.
But there aren't any stars here. I'd have to leave.
As she says that, the shadow rushes forward and tightens its grip on her wrists.
I'm not happy here. I don't think I ever was.
The princess sobs, burying her face in her hands as the final torch blows out. She raises her head, mascara trailing down her cheeks.
So you are. It's dark in here, isn't it?
The princess's eyes dart to the floor.
Well, we can't sit here forever. That part of us is over.
The princess pushes herself from her chair, and you instinctively do the same, waiting by the top of the stairs as she quietly crosses the room.
Do you still care about me? Oh, I wasn't expecting you to say that. I still care about you, too, so maybe this wasn't all bad. But I don't think this place is for us anymore. I think we need to go.
As the princess steps towards the stairs, you offer her your hand. The corners of her mouth curl into a demure smile, and she gently takes your hand in hers. She's cold and a little clammy, but her skin against yours is the most real thing you have ever felt. You're offering surprisingly little resistance. If we leave the cabin, doesn't that end the world?
It does, if he's telling the truth.
Yes, well, I've seen my fairy tale ending, and I think there might be worse things than the end of the world.
Really was just all meaningless blather then, wasn't it?
Think what you will. I'm done fighting. You and the princess don't exchange words as you descend the stairs to the cabin's entrance. And then the two of you step out into the world. I think this is the end of me, even if it's not the end of you. I hope this was worth it. Genuinely, I do. He's really gone, isn't he?
Yeah. There's an itching in the back of my head that feels like it's finally been scratched. No more shadowy figures yanking at our strings. No more strings. I guess we're free.
The stars are so beautiful. I meant it when I said I wanted to dance. Thank you for taking me here. This is nice, even if it's a little cold outside.
She's gone. And is that a mirror? What is that supposed to mean?
We can't even trust ourselves.
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. We're supposed to be there. Do you know what we'll find out there? There is a warmth and sadness in me at the thought of people. Fresh tears on a winter's day. They are not like us. They do not last. We are real. Nothing is an idea that dwells in the absence of something, but nothing cannot exist on its own, and because of that, nothing can't exist.
This one is a songbird in a cage of gilded shadows. She will make for an honest heart. Do not mourn her. She has finally learned to sing for herself.
If I did, I would already be awake. No, their thoughts are quiet. Do you think your narrator lives in the spaces beyond? Do not look to one who fears me for your truth. The only answers worth knowing are those we can find within ourselves. 1. Whatever you bring me next will be enough, and then gravity will pull the others back to me. I will be singular. These gifts are a conversation, and each one shows me the contours of your heart. You've already tried waiting, but I understand if you need more time. I will see you when you return. What textures will you weave for yourself to occupy forever? Will you place the image? If you close that box, will you become another you in another world? An imaginary pattern repeating itself until it can no longer bear the weight of its hand-drawn cage. You'll always come back to the box, because you'll always want to know what it means to be you. I will be here waiting by your side. I see you have returned to me. Days mean nothing in the maw of forever. I never left your side. The next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are. I will be here, waiting for you.
You're on a path in the woods. You make your way up the short path to
Oh, it's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
That isn't a good idea. Just drop...
She's right, we shouldn't. Don't you dare. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
How sweet. Now be a pal and help me get out of here, would you? We could figure out how to deal with them after I'm free.
You walk up to the chains bind.
That would be fine.
Your shout, I'll repeat. You make your way back. Against your better judgment, stop. You swing your arm towards her throat, but she's ready for it. She grabs your arm. You drop the blade, pathetically. She lets go, and faster than you can react, rears back and hits you with a bone-shattering haymaker. There's a ringing in your ears. You're fairly certain you can feel bone grinding against bone where she fractured your jaw, but your body isn't allowing you to feel much right now, adrenaline coursing through your system and numbing your nerves. You fall to your knees. You're barely able to bring your trembling arms up to defend yourself before she hits you again. Every blow is as punishing as the first. You feel bones shatter with every impact, unknown ruptures blossoming with blood somewhere inside of you.
You poor thing. I'll go ahead and put you out of your misery.
She places a confident heel on your chest and pushes you down to the ground. Her knee falls to your throat, your windpipe crushed beneath a weight you didn't think her slight form could possibly possess. It can't just end like this, right? I'm sorry, but it's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods. You're here to slay her. Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and if he doesn't remember what happened, then you know I can hear you. What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again. She is not going to kill you unless you let her. But slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself. A warning. She will lie. We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic. You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I agree. If she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter. Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible. So please try to ignore both of those, if that's what you want. The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small. That's because there isn't a mirror. There isn't. Who cares if there's a mirror? We're all going to die anyway. And I'm sure that if we looked in there, for the last time, you're not going to die unless you let it happen. Though, for what it's worth, if there were a mirror, I'm sure that you wouldn't find anything sad or miserable in it looking back at you. Probably. He knows. Please don't. I'd rather the princess kill us again than see how dreadful we are. I care less about what we look like and more about whether we're being lied to. If he's willing to lie about something, I'm not lying to you. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. This really is... We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left. No blade this time. Yeah, blade, no blade. It doesn't matter. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase. Its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease. This is actually kind of nice. It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time. You shouldn't have come down here unarmed. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. I see your hands are empty. You've already given up, haven't you? You aren't even going to try and kill me. How sweet. And more than a little disappointing.
She's disappointed in us?
Kneel.
But the words don't leave your mouth. Instead, your legs buckle and your knees hit the floor.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you told me I was destined to end the world. That thought wrapped itself around my heart. It has pulled at me since the moment I squeezed the life out of your broken lungs. I could feel its fundamental truth awaken me. The collapse of the old is a necessary prelude to the birth of the new, and the world as it is now is overdue for alterations. It's time for me to seize my destiny, and you, little bird, will help me seize it.
Well, that gives away the game, doesn't it? It certainly does. And beyond that, it more than lends credence to our conversation in the woods. I don't love the thought that in some other reality you failed to destroy her, but what's done is done. You are the only one who can deal with her. And if you don't, well, she's let you know what will happen, hasn't she? Then you shouldn't have trusted us with her destruction. She is inevitable. Can't you feel it? He's being melodramatic, but he's not exactly wrong, is he? What are we supposed to do to stop her? Okay. First things first, you're going to have to stuff those pessimistic thoughts someplace far, far away and commit yourself to what needs to be done. The stakes of the situation should be perfectly clear to everyone now. And if you're going to save the world, you have to have faith that you can pull this off. You can't win a battle that you've already lost in your mind.
This isn't about desire. This is about what I am. And I have little interest in discussing destiny with one that cannot see the divine truth that shines in my heart. Know the limits of your privilege, little bird. There's an empty place at my side for you to fill, if you'll have it. But it is not a place for an equal. It is a place for something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet. All you have to do is break these chains and set me free.
Don't be rude. Of course she can. It's not rude to question someone who's apparently trying to end the world. That's exactly why it's rude. We should know our place.
I can, easily. But that isn't what I want to do. The story of a terrible and bountiful god unbounded of her own will is no story at all. It's not worthy of everything I am, or everything I'm bound to become. It isn't even worthy of what I was. The destruction in Genesis that's to follow in my wake is deserving of a song that can echo for eternity. The song of you, being so struck by my glory, so overwhelmed by what I am, that you feel you must deliver me into the world. And from your act of utter devotion and submission springs a new dawn, a better dawn. Submit now, submit later. It makes no difference. Because in the end, no matter how vainly you struggle against me, my will triumphs over yours. Your will was so easily broken. Am I that magnificent? All you need to do now is break my chains.
this is what you want, then I guess there's not much else for me to say.
No, you can't just give in to her, not when the stakes are so high, not when you're so close. I won't let you do this.
There's still something in the way. A greasy film inside of you where it doesn't belong, trying to conceal you from me. Is that a person? No, it used to be a person. It's something different now. An echo.
Is she talking about you? That's impossible. She's not supposed to be able to interact with me.
You're a small one, aren't you? A shriveling little worm stretched beyond its limits, trying to control things that it can't understand.
No. What are you talking about?
I don't care what you are. You're mine. Rise, my little bird.
Without hesitation, you're brought to your feet.
Break my chains.
And how are we supposed to do that? We don't even have a weapon. All you need to do is believe it's been done. You poor, wretched little thing. You already do believe. You've always believed. All you have to do is open the last door to your heart.
It's easy. And once you let her in...
Please, don't do this.
There's nothing to be sorry about.
Alright, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna go sit in the corner. Her chains shatter, and the cuff falls from her wrist. She is loose, and the end is upon us.
What a good disciple you are. Come, it's time for us to leave. Nothing, and then everything.
She's gone. And there's that... But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. I don't want to look at us.
Okay, a mercy.
I think you know what I am. The narrator. Yes. I suppose that's my job, isn't it? You needed help after all, an objective voice to guide your blade. But you were never supposed to see me. I wonder how many worlds you've damned to extinction to fall this far. Oh, I'm nothing like you. I'm an echo, likely one of many. Somebody made you after all, and I'm what's left of him. Not that I'm the only one who can make that claim. I'm sure you've met many others like me. I'm aware, and if I were you, I'd be more precious. Oh, did I? That means nothing in the grand scheme of things. This construct you're in contains every possible world at once. The fact that you managed to find one reality among trillions where I was delusional proves nothing. She is the shifting mound, the ebb and flow, the capacity to change. She is transformation, or most of it. Her nature is why I had to die, for she becomes that which others perceive her to be. But an echo can't perceive things, not in the way that people can. So I tucked a part of myself into the folds of this construct to guide you. This isn't the end just yet. You can still destroy her and save everyone. You were made to do this single task, and you will still have a chance to fulfill your purpose once I'm gone. Yes, you will, but it will all be worth it. Of course they won't be worse. I saw a glimpse of a better world, and I did what I could to make it real. Anything is better than oblivion. In the end, nobody wants to leave. Of course not. The only way this construct could function was if nobody knew what it was doing. But the bones of the universe are old. It's on the cusp of its dying breath, and the people out there are consumed with thoughts of oblivion. When the patterns are wiped from the sand, when the board is reset, who will remember them? All I've done is give them a chance to live outside of the shadow of the end. It was supposed to keep the two of you trapped here until the job was done, and it was supposed to guide your hand to help you see things through. The construct you're in exists in every world at once. Any time you failed, any time you thought yourself dead, it would restart and shunt both you and her into a new world. But you're waking up to your true nature now. It won't be able to work like that anymore. I killed myself. It had to be done, really. None of this would have worked if I was still alive. Nobody living could know about her. So I am. It's like I said, I'm just an echo. And echoes always fade away.
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly. Every word you spoke found its way to me. I know him, and I know his construct. He was deluded by his fear of death. Pay him no mind. Names are their attempts to capture that which cannot be captured. They call me the shifting mound, a pale imitation of what I actually am. Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the echoes spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation? Even as your eyes begin to open, you still hold on to the notions of is and is not, of beginning and end, pitch black islands in the blinding light of the infinite. There is nothing to resolve, nothing restraining us but us. Of course I have a say in all of this. You and I share reflections of each other's burdens, just as you and I. If we didn't, the winding paths that brought us here. My very nature is paradox, as is yours. You cannot use words to grasp at things that are beyond their reach. But violence and passion are dances that both of us know well. If this is what it takes to enlighten you, then so be it.
Nothing. A black hole of self-loathing fed by the matter of your restless thoughts. A dog blind to its leash. But there is no light without the dark. When I proclaimed my godhood and offered you a place at my side, you gladly became the instrument of my new creation. Only with both of us is there a future to look towards. It is hope cards meaning into being.
And through your lack of one, you too were consumed. Yet together,
A picture of a life, and a picture of a life, and a picture of a life. How deep must repetition still our movements, until even the air we breathe is stale? You doused the flames of false devotion, and in my despair, you lifted my chin, and the two of us danced beneath the stars. But the stars can't be seen unless the flames go out, and the walls come crashing down. Can you not do for all things what you did for us? And dance with me again, and you'll never have to stop. My mass is mobbing you. There is no beginning to them, and there is no end. And there is no end. Only the flood of there is only the flood of bodies. You hold every possible sensation every moment you hold, and then you every hold them all again. Sensation at once. But in the end, you reflected it back at me. For a brief moment, both of us were. we can be everything again.
I saw with a single pair of eyes what I needed dozens to comprehend.
And now here we are.
A trick behind your back and a trick behind mine. We dance, revolving and revolving around each other, but forever stuck in place. We both move and yet we both don't, for each of us watches the other instead of ourselves. But forever is not forever. I move and you react and both of us break the other. But broken is only a moment in time. To change is to hold the potential to rise above. Would you limit yourself to what you are now? Or would you like to see what you might become tomorrow? And there is always time.
Everything is to deny the truth in front of you. By believing in your suffering, you make your suffering real. By believing in your limitations, you placed a shackle on your neck. Bound for eternity, we saw the need for impermanence, and it was through that need that you carved our freedom. Without impermanence, the suffering of living things is infinite. Would you strip my gifts away and leave everyone to suffer in the dark? Or, in time, would they see? Nothing is immutable. Everything that is, there is no constant. There is no center. Open your eyes and accept what we are. It is from my vantage point that I can see the totality of truth. This universe dies, and a new one is born. And that one dies, and a new one is born. And you and I get to witness it all. What I offer you is not perspective. It is truth.
Whatever you're trying to do right now, you don't have to do it alone. I'm all of them, I assume in the same way that you're all of you. I don't think that's wrong, but I'm not sure it's right either. She's too many things all at once out here. If you want to get through to her, you need some way to get through all of that divine confidence. There's still a piece of me nestled close to where it all began. I can take you there.
It's time to resume our dance.
She's relentless, isn't she? Let's make this quick. Then let's go. Don't think any of the others have forgotten what you said at the mirror. They all talked, and they're not happy. But we can discuss that later. We have a job to do. Do you need me to...
It's just us. I think the rest of them are still out there, jumbled up in the rest of her.
Yeah, it's dead silent in here. Whatever it was that was left of him, I don't think it could handle you waking up to godhood. Yeah, it's complicated. He put us through hell, but he's been part of us since the very beginning, hasn't he? Yeah. The interior of the cabin is, well, it's a cabin, yeah? There isn't much here, just a table and a knife and a door. And some windows. There's no mirror, either. I think you broke it. And I know you're still trying to find some middle ground, but if things go south, we're going to need that blade. No blade it is. I'm not sure what we'll be able to do without it, but your judgment has gotten us this far. The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we heard her voice?
Have you figured out what you want to do yet, or are you going to keep trying to find a center that doesn't exist?
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us. And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are. Hands empty. So you don't feel like recreating our first meeting detail for detail. I wonder what else will be different. Maybe there's still room for us to chat before the final curtain call. What do you say? The first time we met, I cut your throat open. If anyone should be apologizing for anything, it should be me. You're only trying to help.
You know, when she puts it like that...
Right back at you. In a way, it hasn't been much time at all, but it feels like it's been forever since I've seen you. Thanks for coming back. I'm the same princess that's been with you since the beginning. And I feel real. But I also feel like I'm a lot more than I was then. We've been through a lot together. I don't think there's anything more real than that. No, it really wasn't. But just because it hasn't been fair doesn't mean that it hasn't been worth it. I'm really glad I got to know you. I don't think she's the sort of thing you can really disagree with. It doesn't matter if she's right or wrong because she exists. She's this big, unrelenting force, and there's no arguing with her. But I guess that was the question out there, wasn't it? And it was the question before you came down here, too. Should she get to exist? I'm glad you didn't bring that knife with you. And I don't want to be her, if that's what you're asking. I think I just want to be me.
Yeah, I'm happy not to be everything. Just being us is plenty.
I never had one. And do not call me the shifting mound. It's too much. But I've always been a princess to you, right? So why don't we stick with that? And as for you, well, hero works for me.
But that's me. You know, I think I like that.
I don't know. I'm a part of her, I think. But she's seen so much more than we have. Like, she's seen everything, right? I don't think I could hold all of that without losing myself. I don't think you could either. Doesn't matter what we call ourselves. It's just another label, and I don't think labels have ever helped us. Well, just like this cabin. Do you know where this cabin is? Because I don't. I don't even know what's supposed to be outside other than us. What would even happen if we leave? What would that even mean? You know what? Yeah, I want that too.
I think I'm gonna stay right here. Whatever you're doing right now, wherever you're going, it feels like it's for just the two of you. Yeah, I'm not sure I'll be alone for too long anyways. The others are still around here somewhere. I'll find them.
This is it. I have no idea what it's gonna be like out there. Not that I'm scared or anything. It's exciting, really. Anything could happen. And if it's bad, then it won't be bad. Not with you. I love you too. But I'm trying not to be sappy about it. Don't make me get all emotional.